This is the last video for section 5.7 and actually the last new learning video for chapter 5, so please enjoy it. I'm calling this example spicy with a dash of wasabi because I'll never forget about a year ago I was lucky enough to go on vacation with my parents. My family, we went with my mom and dad, and we were on the beach, and my mom ordered some sushi, and she was so excited to eat some sushi. It came out to her. She was on the beach and she noticed an avocado next to her sushi, and she thought, oh, that'd be really nice to chop up and kind of use and eat it as I eat my sushi. What she didn't realize is that the avocado was actually a chunk of wasabi. So she bit into the wasabi thinking it was avocado. And if you know anything about wasabi, a little bit goes a really long way. And she took a huge bite. She thought she was going to die. It was so hot. Have any of you ever had wasabi before? Have you ever had too much at one time? It took her a good few hours to feel normal again. Needless to say, she will never bite into an avocado ever again in her entire life. Anyway, let's go on to this last problem. It doesn't look so bad at first glance. There's only one radical. It's on the left-hand side of the equation, and technically it's already isolated. Some of you might get a little worried with that 2 right there, but remember that's multiplication. So there's only one term on the left side, so I definitely would consider it isolated. So you could go right into squaring both sides of your equation to get rid of that radical. Now keep in mind, when there is only one term, that 2 can distribute. So it's really like we have a 2 squared and a root of 4x squared. Then on the right, x plus 3 squared is really x plus 3 times x plus 3. You cannot distribute the 2 to the x and the 3 because this has 2 terms in it. We have a binomial, so you really do have to write it out twice. So let's simplify this out. 2 squared is 4. And then here, square root of 4x squared. Since everything is underneath that radical, the radical and the exponent cancel each other. You're just left with a 4x. On the right, when you FOIL this out or do the area model, you'll get an x squared plus 6x plus 9. And then I'm going to go one step further, and on the left side, 4 times 4x will become a 16x. Now, hopefully you recognize when it's time to solve for x, when you have that x squared, you have a parabola, and that's a big red flag that you're going to have to factor to solve what's going on here. And to factor, we need everything in standard form. So to get everything in standard form, I need to move this 16x over. So I end up with 0 equals x squared, and then 6x minus 16x will be a negative 10x. Factoring when a equals 1 is no problem. The x squared splits to x and x. I'm looking to see what multiplies to a positive 9 and adds to a negative 10. Well, factors of 9, I have 9 and 1 and 3 and 3. And I think a negative 9 times a negative 1 will give me that positive 9, and a negative 9 plus a negative 1 will be the negative 10. So I've got my negative 9, negative 1. So the only thing left to do to solve for x is apply that zero product property. We've got set x minus 9 equal to 0 and x minus 1 equal to 0. So when we solve for x, I get x equals a positive 9 and I get x equals a positive 1. We do have to check to make sure that both of these answers are valid. So I'm going to start with the x equals 9. Every time I see an x, I'm going to replace it with a 9. Square root of 36 is 6. So I sure enough get a true statement. 12 equals 12. So I like x equals 9 as my answer here. Now let's do some checking for when x equals 1. I'm going to rewrite my equation every time I see an x, substitute it in for a 1. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Sure enough, we get a true statement there as well. So this would be a case where I have 2 possible solutions, x equals 9 and x equals 1. That's it for this video. Please go on to Schoology and check out what your assignment is. Best of luck. Reach out on the discussion boards if you need any help.